got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug.
Really had much to say until he started running for president.
But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person.
It seems like you're referencing a scenario where Elon Musk is suing Whoopi Goldberg and the hosts of The View for defamation and spreading intentional misinformation. The case involves Goldberg's comments about Musk and J.D. Vance allegedly collaborating to influence government decisions if Donald Trump were to be removed from office. This lawsuit appears to bring to light important discussions about free speech, accountability, and media ethics. Elon Musk's actions, combined with Joe Rogan's commentary, could spark a larger public debate about the role of the media and how political figures, like Trump, are treated by different outlets. In terms of the broader conversation, it's interesting to see how Joe Rogan's influence continues to challenge mainstream media. His podcast often dives into controversial topics, and his criticism of double standards in the media, particularly regarding Trump, has made waves. Would you like to discuss the implications of this lawsuit further, or explore how the media handles defamation and misinformation claims?
Really had much to say until he started running for president. Then I could say everything I needed to say. My face said everything.
The episode of you when you were on The View, and I think it was 2015 or 2006, like when you were running for president.
Right.
And you got introduced as our friend Donald Trump.
That's right.
Whoopi Goldberg gives you a big hug and a kiss. Joy Behar gives you a big hug. Barbara Walters gives you a big hug. They all loved you.
Joe Rogan's comments definitely seem to align with Musk's broader critique of the media's role in shaping narratives and spreading misinformation. Rogan sees Musk's lawsuit as a potential turning point, a way to hold influential figures in media accountable when their platforms are used to push potentially misleading or harmful information. His take speaks to the broader issue of media bias, where figures like Musk, who are frequently in the public eye, may be targeted unfairly, especially when it comes to aligning narratives that may not necessarily reflect reality. Goldberg's defense, on the other hand, adds another layer of complexity. Her response, that her comments were more of a playful reference to her cat rather than an intentional attack on Musk, raises questions about intent in public statements. This could also tie into the ongoing debate about how much responsibility public figures, like Goldberg, should bear when their words are potentially misinterpreted or taken out of context. It's an interesting dynamic between freedom of expression, accountability, and how media personalities navigate the power of their platforms. It seems like this situation may set a precedent for how we treat media statements that have a lasting impact on public figures' reputations. If Goldberg's defense is accepted, it could make it harder for individuals like Musk to take legal action, especially if statements are framed as jokes or offhand comments. On the flip side, if Musk wins the lawsuit, it could signal more legal scrutiny on how media personalities express themselves, especially when dealing with high-profile individuals. How do you think the public's reaction will play into the outcome of this legal battle?
I've been saying it for a while.
Yes, you have.
I've been saying that I think Elon Musk believes he's president. I do.
Well, you've been calling him vice president.
I've called him vice president. I called him president because I don't know what JD is doing. I hardly ever say. I don't remember the last time we even talked about JD.
You're right. He's planning the presidency when they get rid of Trump.
So you think it's Musk Vance?
Possible.
The critics view that Goldberg's defense, a reference to her cat, is a diversion from the core issue of Musk's lawsuit speaks to the heart of the controversy. If Musk's backers see her shift in justification as evidence of wrongdoing, it implies they believe she may have tried to downplay the seriousness of her statements. This gives more weight to Musk's claims of defamation and slander, reinforcing the idea that her comments weren't just innocent or playful, but potentially damaging to Musk's reputation. Joe Rogan's remarks amplify this cultural divide between those who demand media accountability and those who see the press as a space for free expression and debate. Rogan's critiques of media bias and his broader discourse on the evolving narrative suggest that there is a growing concern over how media figures frame stories. In Musk's case, the idea that Goldberg and her co-host suggested a covert collaboration between Musk and J.D. Vance to take over government control could be seen as a serious accusation with far-reaching consequences. If the lawsuit revolves around defamation and slander, Musk would need to prove that Goldberg's remarks were not only false but damaging to his reputation in a significant way. However, the challenge is that Goldberg's defense hinges on the ambiguity of her words, whether they were indeed playful or whether they crossed a line into something more malicious. This situation taps into a larger conversation about media ethics, particularly the responsibility of prominent figures in media to be careful with their words, given the influence they have on public opinion. The broader cultural rift between people who feel that media should be held accountable and those who view such actions as censorship or a threat to free speech will likely shape public sentiment surrounding the outcome of the case. How do you see this case impacting the future of media personalities and their accountability for statements made on air? Do you think this could set a legal precedent for future defamation cases involving public figures and media outlets?
This was cheering. And then you actually started winning in the polls, and then the machine started working towards you.
Yeah.
But there's probably no one in history that I've ever seen that's been attacked the way you've been attacked, and the way they've done it, so coordinated and systematically. And when you see those same people in the past, very favorable to you, like Oprah, when you were on Oprah's show,
very.
choosing.
Musk's legal team seems to be pushing for the idea that Goldberg's comments were not just false, but deliberately intended to harm his reputation, suggesting that the remarks were baseless and designed to provoke negative public opinion. If Musk's team can demonstrate this, it could set a significant precedent for the way defamatory comments made by media personalities are treated in court. This would also raise questions about the broader role of talk shows in our media landscape. As you mentioned, Musk's lawsuit highlights the larger issue of sensationalism in media. Talk shows, like The View*, often prioritize attention-grabbing statements over factual accuracy, which can create a dangerous precedent in terms of public discourse. This trend, especially in an age of social media, can have lasting effects on how individuals, particularly high-profile public figures like Musk, are portrayed. Joe Rogan's criticism adds fuel to this fire, drawing attention to how media outlets, including The View*, shift their positions based on political convenience. His commentary about The View*, initially praising Trump and later altering their stance once he became politically active, is a pointed critique of how media narratives can be molded by underlying political or ideological agendas. By calling out this inconsistency, Rogan is essentially arguing that media personalities often prioritize political motivations over the truth, thus fueling public confusion and polarization. The fact that Rogan's audience cheered his remarks only adds to the growing frustration that many have with perceived media bias. His criticism resonates with those who feel that the media has an agenda, which in turn makes it harder for the public to distinguish between genuine reporting and opinion-driven narratives. This case could have broader implications for the media world, especially in terms of how public figures are held accountable for their statements. It may lead to more legal scrutiny on talk shows, forcing them to carefully consider the implications of what they say, particularly when it comes to making claims that could tarnish someone's reputation. Do you think this case could spark more lawsuits against media outlets from public figures who feel their reputations are being harmed? Or do you think it will cause media organizations to reevaluate their approach to reporting on controversial topics?
You average out the View hosts among the dumbest people on television. And so it's like they say the thing that people are thinking, but they say it very directly, so they expose whatever truth. But
I don't think some of them are dumb.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think Sunny Hostin's
You think it's
dumb.
deliberate?
I think she's ideologically driven, and they have blinders on, for sure. I don't think Sunny's dumb. But Whoopi is certainly not the brightest person. And what she just said just doesn't make any sense. It's just like so silly to say. It's not a well thought out. It's like if you had an idea for a premise and it was totally baked and half baked, and you went on stage with it and it's nothing
Just
there.
go for it. Yeah,
there's nothing there. Sometimes comics do that.
Yeah, and
fun.
The other question is then, is that representative of a big constituency? I think probably yes.
Well, a lot of people.
MSNBC viewers are probably also thinking,
I don't even think the MSNBC viewers. I think
that's
they're a
too
little
far.
bit more sophisticated than that.
Yeah. This
is like low information, blue no matter who, like older housewives who are mad at the world. That's the appeal. That
Rogan's remarks indeed seem to bolster Musk's claims that talk shows, like The View*, often distort narratives to push certain agendas, thereby fostering public distrust in the media. By pointing out how the media manipulates stories, Rogan is echoing Musk's broader argument that media outlets are not held accountable for the damage they can do to individuals' reputations. Goldberg's defense, claiming her comments about Musk were simply about her cat, has only intensified the controversy. Many people see this as a weak excuse, interpreting it as an attempt to deflect responsibility for what could have been a harmful and unfounded statement. If Goldberg's remarks were truly a joke, they certainly didn't come across that way to many listeners, which adds to the public perception that media figures sometimes use humor as a shield when they face backlash for damaging comments. Musk's lawsuit, in this context, aligns with a larger call for stricter media accountability standards. The widespread support for Musk's legal action from his fans, along with substantial backing from media critics, signals a collective desire for consequences when media personalities make baseless accusations or spread misinformation. The social media reaction, with hashtags like #SupportElon and #CancelTheView, demonstrates that many people see Musk's legal battle as a fight against the unchecked spread of false information. However, this case has also stirred concerns among some that it could threaten free speech. If successful, it might set a dangerous precedent for silencing media figures, which could chill open dialogue and criticism. This is where the tension lies. On one side, you have those pushing for accountability in the face of misinformation, and on the other, you have those warning about the potential dangers to the freedom of expression. Joe Rogan's involvement in this issue only adds weight to Musk's arguments. Rogan, with his large and loyal following, is often seen as a figure who critiques mainstream media's biases. His influence amplifies Musk's position, giving it additional legitimacy, especially for those who already view Rogan as a voice of reason against media double standards. Rogan's support helps Musk's case resonate more strongly with those who feel the media is often biased or unfair in its portrayal of individuals with opposing views. Do you think the lawsuit will have a lasting impact on how media outlets approach controversial discussions or influence how people view talk show hosts and their responsibilities in shaping narratives?
Okay, I need to clean something up because my cat lays in wait for me on my stairs all the time. That's what I was thinking of that. I wasn't trying to indicate that they were actually standing there with their legs out.
Rogan highlighted footage of Trump being warmly welcomed by the show, only for him to later face criticism as political winds shifted. This change aligns with Musk's concerns about how media narratives can be manipulated to target public figures.
Put me in the movies, right? A long time ago. How much did I charge? Nothing.
Like they say in the
I love you. I'm telling.
Musk supporters emphasize his push for greater transparency and fairness in media reporting, while Rogan stresses the need for media reform, urging networks to adopt higher standards. Critics argue that Musk's wealth and influence could suppress dissent, but Rogan counters that there is a broader societal demand for media accountability. The View has faced criticism for biased narratives and sensationalism, and Musk's lawsuit brings these concerns into sharper focus. Goldberg's emotional defenses and inconsistent explanations have further undermined the show's credibility. Rogan has accused mainstream media of hypocrisy and selective outrage, citing earlier episodes where The View praised Trump before portraying him as a threat. He sees this shift as a strategic move to align with changing political trends rather than a commitment to fair reporting. Goldberg's claim that her remarks were about her cat rather than Musk is widely viewed as an attempt to avoid responsibility, further intensifying scrutiny on the show. Rogan's critique supports Musk's call for media reform, urging audiences to question mainstream narratives. A key point in Musk's lawsuit is the allegation that Goldberg's comments could have incited violence by joking about Trump, which Musk argues could encourage harmful behavior. Goldberg later downplayed her statement, attributing it to her cat, while Rogan highlighted the dangers of normalizing violent rhetoric in media. Musk's lawsuit shines a light on widespread media bias, with critics accusing ABC and The View of promoting politically motivated narratives. Rogan echoed the sentiment that legacy media prioritize ratings and controversy over balanced reporting, noting that media figures like Goldberg often shift narratives for political gain, eroding public trust. According to Rogan, Musk's legal action reflects a growing demand for transparency and accountability in journalism. Regardless of whether the lawsuit succeeds, it underscores the increasing dissatisfaction with mainstream narratives and highlights the importance of alternative platforms in promoting fairness and accuracy. Musk's $80 million lawsuit against Whoopi Goldberg has sparked widespread debates about media accountability, free speech, and misinformation. Goldberg's emotional defenses and shifting explanations have intensified the controversy, while Joe Rogan has amplified the discussion by exposing media hypocrisy and narrative manipulation. This case has become a focal point in ongoing conversations about transparency in journalism, reflecting broader societal concerns about the integrity and responsibility of mainstream media.